Wow. I'm saying wow, but it's probably not your first reward. Is it really? What does it mean for you? Can you express?
Well, what makes me most happy today is the intense feeling, as I'm, beyond my productive years, to realize from what I heard today how very active and talented younger scientists are pursuing the dream and getting gradual success towards the end we all wish for, that is a cure for cancer that is as painless and as less tiring than the present treatment. And a day like today makes me quite confident that it's going to come.
As the next generation, he's supposed to mention you, but
I'm the
but
old
you are
generation.
mentioning the next generation.
He
makes your work exist.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You wouldn't give up, it has been said in the video. It was against all odds. No one really believed of the importance of this beginning of the research around immunotherapy. So you must be very strongly willed.
Maybe I'm a bit asocial, so that I don't mind too much what other people think of me.
You had nothing else to do in your laboratory. Professor van Gindrachter, you consider Professor Boon your scientific hero. Explain.
That's indeed true, and I don't say that very often. I was actually introduced to the work of Professor Boon by my former boss and mentor, Patrick de Baatseer, who was teaching about these very elegant experiments, very early elegant experiments of detecting tumor antigens, and I was immediately like, this is what it should be. This is how an experiment should be designed. You have a hypothesis, you go from point A to B to C, etc., and you end up with identifying these antigens. And I found it such elegant work that I still teach I give the same slides as my former boss so many years ago to my students now because I think it's brilliant work. Yeah.
It's still relevant.
It's still very relevant, yeah.
Professor Boon, you must have explained to thousands of people like me who are not an expert what exactly you are doing. Do you think after all those years we understand now?
Yes, I do. I mean, basically, I'm amazed by how well even non-scientists can be explained what's going on. What we do is not theoretical physics, which is very difficult to understand for non-specialists. It's fairly easy science to understand.
Okay, let's all... No. Where do we have to go from now? Is there things where you think, I'm not actively working anymore, but maybe you should do this, or maybe you should do that? It's probably still on your mind.
Well, I would say, I think we should do inquisitive clinical research. It's now the time for that. And it's not so much that I think, or that I worry about what people are going to do, because I think the basic outlook is reasonably clear. It's a matter of doing it. But I'm worried about two things, and that I want to express here, because I already expressed this worry this morning. The first is that our scientific system continues to allow talented young people to pursue a difficult goal without asking them for quick results. And that is a spirit that has been disappearing in the last 10 to 20 years, and we must make sure to reinstate it to a certain extent.
Things have to go faster.
And I have a second concern. That concern is the following. I'm not an MD, I'm not a physician, but nevertheless, in the early 90s, I was involved in trying to use our knowledge of antigens to make a start with immunotherapy by trying to immunize people with those antigens. And I vividly recall how the patients who had a very bad prognosis were completely enthusiastic. The physicians were enthusiastic. And the system was permissive. We had a local council to allow us to do those experiments in the university. And we progressed with great speed. Then I saw the horizon darken 5 year per 5 year, because new regulations came all the time that, under the disguise of protecting the patients, in fact, are harming the patients because they are harming the research. You see, it's one thing to do a clinical trial for a drug that's going to be accepted or not to be marketed. So you treat 10,000 people with it, and you just look at the results. Yes or no, are they cured or no? But what cancer research in immunotherapy needs now is inquisitive, basically what I could call inquisitive phase 1 trials, when one tries to find out what happens in the patients that one is trying to treat. And that in Europe is made every year more difficult by what are, in my view, absolutely unreasonable bureaucratic regulations, especially fostered by the European Union. And I would hope that the patients and others will mobilize to fight this. I'm not politically minded, so I was...
Yeah, the public is hesitating.
Terribly,
should I applaud or should I just be quiet?
But, I'm not capable of doing this, but others are.
Yeah, we are listening to a pioneer who was working in a period where there was nothing to lose, really. Times have changed, I believe.
But they have changed because we learn the rules of the game. And the rules of the game is, how does the immune system differentially recognize a cancer cell from a normal cell? And Professor Thierry Boon told us for the first time what the immune system saw in the cancer that was not in the normal cell. Our job was then to translate that to treating patients. What Professor Boon is saying is that translating to patients requires a process where we learn everything we do. I treat a cancer that when I started 20 years ago, only 1 in 20 people had any reasonable chance to have any positive outcome. Now, half of the patients that Professor Naeems and I treat are living a normal life because we were able to engage the immune system to fight the cancer, and because the immune system was able to find the bad guys among the good guys. But this is not enough, because there's the 50% of this cancer, melanoma, that don't respond, and there's many others with many other cancers who don't respond. So our job is to continue to learn from basic science and translate to better treatments for patients.
Do you believe, and we all do hope so, that cancer will be an illness of the past?
I hope so, and science will get us there, the same way that's getting us out from the COVID-19 pandemic. We can have this because science has been translated to patient care. The more we do that, the more we invest in science and knowledge, the better we'll do as a society.
We heard a bit of complaints about the legislation in Europe. You've been working and living a lot in the United States, so you're an American.
Well, I'm still a Catalan. I was born in Barcelona. I've always felt a Catalan.
But are there more possibilities for you?
I do what I like in the setting that is fulfilling, where there's enough resources put forward to be able to do what I'm talking about, to translate science into patient care.
Melanoma and advanced skin cancer was considered the most difficult type of cancer to treat and cure, but you also took the challenge to heart and are also a bit stubborn or maybe a bit asocial. That is something you might have in common. Certainly a strong...
Have you talked with my wife? That's trouble.
She agrees with me.
I'm sorry, she does.
For the stubbornness.
And then social also.
Okay. How many people have you saved being stubborn and asocial? Do you know? Are they hundreds? Are they thousands?
I don't know, because it's been the whole field. And I'm honored that I'm receiving this degree, but it's not me. It's a field that raised to the level, but we had enough knowledge that we could translate to patients. Not understanding the science and understanding patient care is where we allow us to do both things and do first things in patients. But it's not my honor, so I'm just here standing for all of the people who've been able to take this promise to patients with a metastatic cancer to be able to beat that disease by getting their immune system to attack it.
But it's very honorable to say that, but the particularity is the fact that they call you a bridge builder, that you combine clinical experiments with the laboratory.
Or that I'm never as good as the basic scientists or the full-time clinicians, but I try to do both.
You try to do both. Okay. Dr. Nijns, I've noticed that you have 6 pens, but there's not in your shirt in the video. I counted them, but there's not a VUB pen, so I give you mine.
I'll make sure I put it as a 7th one into my jacket. Right?
Why do you have to write so much?
I think altogether it's probably because I'm a bit focused while I'm on work. My ideas are not what I'm wearing, how much pens I have in my pocket. My worries is with the patient that's in front of me. And also getting to the issue of numbers, I fully understand. And they are important for policymakers. They are important for making certain decisions. But on a daily basis, what counts for us is that single person in front of us. Every life is important. And if we make a difference, if we make progress, it always starts with the one in front of us. That's what we care about.
I heard that you've contacted Professor Ribas once to help you out with one of your patients. How does that go?
For sure. I mean, connections, we just heard from our rector how important they are. Again, alluding to the fact that every life counts. As soon as we as physicians know that there is some hope, that there is progress, that we return home from conferences hearing about new treatments, new molecules, the first thing on our head is, can we possibly help this patient out? Send in him or her, even cross-Atlantic. And some years ago, you recall, we did so. And it makes a difference. So connections, I agree, they are very important.
What about disconnection? You're in good company, eh?
Sure.
It's good
I couldn't be any better.
It's good to...
I think, for sure. I mean, I think the collaboration with the team of Thierry Boon goes back like 20 years. We just shared memories of sitting way earlier in our career at meetings, picking up the data. The science was just emerging. And for those who know me from my private life, I've been a runner for much of my life. And I've always been told, when you go and run a race, never look behind. But at some points, and in my job I do that as well, we can't too often stop and look behind, think of all the ones we've lost. But at some point, as today in this special, with all those friends and colleagues, I think this is the right moment, and we can reflect, and I think we should be proud of the progress that has been made.
Yes, you can be proud. Geef ze alsjeblieft een warm applaus. So since I made some people happy to take a group photo, maybe I have to make you happy too, and ask again our honorary doctors to stand there with their proximity, and we'll take another souvenir picture of this wonderful day. Congratulations.